Hello, my beautiful brides. Welcome to Bridal Live. I am Liana Harris, owner of Always Couture Bridal Boutique in West Bloomfield, and we are committed to elevating the bridal experience with private styling sessions, a curated gown selection picked just for you when you arrive, and a champagne toast to celebrate when you say yes to the dress. Now, I am here today for a live Q&A session. I am going to wait for a few people to join in here on the live stream and start asking questions, but while we do, I'm going to answer a few of the most commonly asked questions that I get every day as a bridal seamstress. For those of you joining me for the first time, I have been a bridal seamstress for the past about 28 years now. And I know that's a little hard to believe, but I have been doing this since I was about 6 years old. So I've come across every question and every circumstance that anyone could possibly find themselves in while planning their wedding. I have dealt with women who were on their second marriage, women who were pregnant right before their wedding, women who were just getting out of surgery and about to have their wedding. I've had young brides, older brides, everything, really covering all bases. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have. I am also here to offer up the rules and guidelines for the contest that we are having. So if you come on the live stream with me today and you comment one of your questions, you are automatically going to be entered into a drawing that will be posted later this week for the winner of a veil. I did actually forget to grab the veil, but I might go get that in just a second. It's a beautiful fingertip length veil with a full lace hem all the way around the edge. It is actually quite gorgeous, and I think it would be perfect for the right bride. So if you are at all interested, leave me a comment either during the live stream or after, and you will be entered to win. So that being said, I'm going to try to think of a few questions while we're still waiting for people to pop in. Let's see. So one of the most commonly asked questions I get is about hems. Now, I have covered a lot of these in previous videos, but in case you're new here, one of my most commonly asked questions, like I said, is hems. A lot of hems have a lace border, and it's usually something very intricate, very beautiful. It usually makes the dress, and it's the whole reason that the bride wants the dress in the first place. So to just cut it off would be devastating. And unfortunately, that is what a lot of brides think happens when you get your dress altered and get it hemmed to fit you, is that you think, oh, well, I'm a super short bride, you know, I'm gonna have to have like 5 inches of my hem cut off, I'm gonna lose this gorgeous detail on the bottom. Well, that's just not true. What happens is bridal seamstresses will go to extraordinary lengths to make sure that that detail on the bottom is kept exactly the way that it was when it was made, and so that it looks exactly the way that you want it to look on your big day. So what we usually do is we try to meticulously remove it and move it up into a higher part of the skirt so that it sits level with the floor when you are standing in it at your height. With satin hems, it's a little easier. There's not a lot to lose, but there is often a type of edging at the bottom of a skirt that makes it look finished. And what we like to do is we like to try to replicate the techniques used when making the dress, if at all possible, so that way we keep the original style of the hem and the train. Staying on that topic, that is actually something that I also get asked a lot is, am I getting my train cut off when I get my hem done? And no, not at all. We don't even work with the train when we do the hem. You only hem the front of the dress. You hem it from the front to the side seams, and then you taper it off so that way the train stays completely intact. And then we bustle the train later on. Now, I have come to understand after years and years of doing this that not everybody knows what a bustle is. I find that so unusual that I get that question so often, like, what is a bustle? And it's just because I've been in the business my whole life. I've been around bridal gowns since I was like this tall, like you can't see the floor, but like when I was, I don't know, 10 maybe, I started working on bridal gowns. So yeah, since I was like, oh yay hi, I have been working with bridal gowns. So it's just unusual for me to realize that not a lot of people know what a bustle is. And a bustle is the mechanism that is used when you want to shorten the train and get it off the floor so that you're not dragging it around the whole night. And what you do is there's either a series of buttons or a series of ribbons under the dress that you tie together, or you hook loops onto buttons. Sometimes people use hooks and eyes. Every seamstress uses a different method for the way that she does bustles, or he. And so anytime you see a gown that's been worked on, you're going to see a different type of bustle, which makes it a little difficult for me sometimes when I work on dresses that have been previously worked on. I have to figure out how this bustle was done and get it all done up so that I can see whether or not it's something that the bride wants to keep. That being said, let's see. When you come in for your appointment, people always ask what you should bring. You should always bring your shoes. Biggest thing, always bring shoes, because we have to hem your dress to the height of your shoes. If we don't have your shoes, we can't hem your dress. And it's always a bit of a catch-22 when people get their dress hemmed to whatever shoe they're gonna wear, because you wanna wear the heels walking down the aisle, but if we hem your dress to your heels and you take them off, your dress will be too long. But if we hem your dress to the floor and you wear your heels, your hem will be too short when you walk down the aisle. So that is just one of those issues that we deal with in the bridal world that is often unresolvable. You wanna wear the heels. You have to wear the heels. And you don't want to be uncomfortable in them all night, so you take them off. And you just kind of walk around picking up your skirt as you go, and it works itself out. It's nothing to really, lose your mind over. I do recommend trying to find a pair of shoes that is comfortable enough to wear the whole day, but, that's not always an option. Let me think. Necklines. Alterations is really my game. That's probably the thing that I get the most questions on when it comes to selling bridal gowns. I think some common questions are, am I going to be able to get it in on time? Will I be able to order it in my size? Does it come in different colors? Things like that. There's not a whole lot of questioning that comes in. It's all very straightforward. I will say that when you're buying a wedding gown, you want to make sure to plan ahead. You can get things off the rack at most places, but if you want a gown specifically tailored to you, and I say that loosely because I don't mean altered to you, I mean if you want a gown that fits your specifications, if you want a gown that is the right color ivory or has a specific type of lace, or if you want it to get delivered in your size, then you want to make sure that you plan a good 6 months in advance to go looking for dresses so that you have the ability to get one ordered. Getting a dress ordered usually takes anywhere from 10 to 16 weeks a lot of the time, and because they're usually made in your size and then shipped out, and they're brand new, fresh right off the rack, and are right off the assembly line. I don't know how you want to say that, but they are beautiful when they come in, and they're brand new and they're crisp, and I highly recommend getting your dress special ordered if you have the option, just because the dresses when they come in and they're brand new, they're so beautiful. They just sparkle, they light up, they're so clean and fresh, and I'm just going to keep saying that over and over again because I repeat myself. But when you do get a dress off the rack, there are a few disadvantages to that. There are a few advantages, of course, like being able to buy it the same day, being able to buy a dress that maybe not a lot of other people have, because your off the rack dresses are going to be fairly one of a kind depending on where you go. You can find dresses off the rack that are discontinued from 10 years ago, so there's not a lot of people left that have it anymore. Particularly in my case, in my shop, you're going to find a lot of off-the-rack dresses that are one of a kind, because we carry anything from the most recent and up-to-date styles to styles that haven't been seen since the 1930s. I restore vintage wedding gowns and I sell them here in my shop. We are in fact actually having a big sample sale this coming weekend. So Thursday through Saturday this week, from 10 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. All 3 of those days I will be here, and all of our off-the-rack gowns are going to be 50% off. So that does exclude our restored vintage gowns, but those are also fairly affordable, just off the rack. But all of our designer off-the-rack gowns are going to be 50% off. That also includes any of our Mother of the Bride, Bridesmaid, special occasion gowns. All of them are going to be 50% off for this weekend only. It's going to be a great deal. I hope you can all stop by and see the collection. We've got every size imaginable, all the way from 2 to 30. So I'm sure I can find something for you if you're looking for a dress that works for you right away, or even if you're just looking for a dress that you can get at an affordable price. This weekend is the time to stop by if you're making those plans. That being said, getting back to the point, when you get a dress off the rack, especially if you get it here, they are unique. They're usually something that, like I said, hasn't been seen for a while. They're a atypical style, because a lot of the times when you go to different bridal boutiques, they will have a lot of the most recent styles on their racks, and they're all fairly similar because, you know, everybody wants to carry the latest trends, and so you'll find that all the dresses look pretty much the same. They all have the same necklines, they all have the same waistlines, they all have the same sleeves, because that's what's trending. But what I like to do is be a little different in my shop. I'm a bit more of a vintage person myself, so like I said, I carry restored vintage gowns, but I also I love having some unique pieces in my shop, so that way if a bride comes here and she is looking for something that's a little more alternative, if she's looking for something that's a little bit, you know, not your everyday bridal gown, you know, she's going to find that here. I even have things that are, you know, totally off the wall, from black wedding gowns. I've got some wedding gowns with red in them. You know, I've got things with different types of illusions, things that sparkle from head to toe, things that are completely clean, you know, anything and everything. But going back to typically asked questions, let's see. Trying to decide whether or not to go back and forth between alterations or sales. Veils are also something that I get questioned about a lot. Can you get a veil special ordered? Absolutely. You can get it in whatever style and size you want, whatever length. I'm going to do a whole video coming up soon about the different lengths of veils to wear with different dresses, depending on the type of wedding that you're having, depending on the type of look that you're going for. All of these things can be achieved by making the right choices with your dress, your veil, your accessories, your shoes, all of these things, which we also sell right here at Always Couture. So, let me think. I am going to get off here in just a second, but I do want to think of like one big question that people ask more than anything else. And I'm having a hard time because I can't decide whether or not it's an alterations question or if it's a sales question. I haven't seen any comments here so far, so I can't answer any of the questions that you guys have asked because no one's asked any questions yet. But I do hope that something that I've said today may have struck a chord with you. You are also always welcome to message me or comment on any of my live streams or any of my posts. I always answer every question. I'm available most of the time. like most people today, I have my phone in my hand 24 hours a day. So I am always available to answer your questions, and I hope you ask them, because I really do care about, you know, your happiness, your comfort on your big day and on your way to your big day. Again, I'm trying to think of a question. So, and it's hard because I've answered a lot of these questions in previous videos and I don't want to just keep repeating myself. So, I guess my biggest piece of advice would just be to plan ahead. You know, people are always asking me about doing things at the last minute, whether or not they are possible, and of course they are, but it's always better to try to have as much time as you can to work with. Now, that being said, it's not always possible. I know that. I planned my wedding in 4 months, and it was, oh my gosh, it was a roller coaster. So you're not always given the time that you wish you could have, but don't wait. I guess that's my biggest point here is, if you have 4 months, start at 4 months. Don't wait till 2 months before to get in somewhere, because especially during certain parts of the year, you're gonna have very limited options. I'm actually fully booked all the way out through September right now with alterations. So if you're trying to get alterations done in August, it's almost going to be impossible. So we really like to have people book as soon as you can. You know, we say wait to get your first fitting done until about 8 to 10 weeks out from your event, but that does not mean book 8 to 10 weeks out from your event. It means call to book your appointment for 8 to 10 weeks out for your event. So you can call me 2 years ahead and I will book you for whenever your event is and 10 weeks before that. Because I just want to be able to accommodate everybody and have no one stress out. Of course, that's never going to happen because we're all human and things happen. But I'm just here to say, you know, try to give yourself as much space as you can in your heart, in your minds. Be patient with yourselves. Everything is going to work out at the end, and at the very end of the day, you'll end up married to the love of your life, and that is really what this is all about. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I really had hoped that we'd have a few more people jump on here and do a little bit more of an interactive thing, but that didn't seem to happen this time. I will be doing this Q&A every month. Probably I'm thinking the first week of the month. So, you know, if you have some questions in mind that you want to get answered in real time, I would be happy to have you back here next month for my next Q&A. Until then, I'm going to sign off here. This is Liana Harris coming to you from Always Couture Bridal Boutique in West Bloomfield, where I am truly passionate about making your wedding planning experience unforgettable. And I really can't wait to get you in here, treat you like a princess, and get you into the dress of your dreams. So give me a call. Like I said, we are having a huge sale this weekend, Thursday through Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. All of our sample gowns and all of our bridesmaids, mother of the bride, special occasions, all of those dresses are going to be 50% off. So you really don't want to miss this. So that's me. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.